we're going to improve the family Burnout wagon stopping power with a bolt-on upgrade you can do to any G-Body S10 Blazer front discs. So first, we're going to swing by the junkyard to pick up our parts for this 100% junkyard upgrade.
Kind of a whole bunch of candidates out here. Let's get started. Priority number one, get comfy. So if you're wondering why the heck we're going through the trouble to do all of this, here's why. This is the stock caliper from a 1983 Chevy Malibu wagon. It's a big Hurricane car, one piston in the caliper. This is the stock 2000 Chevy Blazer caliper. It has two pistons. My math may be a bit off, but it should about double your braking power. Maybe a little less, but it's a bake brake upgrade. And it's a direct bolt-on swap. Okay, so that worked. So you can, in fact, let the shock stop the spring if you're just doing this in the junkyard. We got the parts from the junkyard for all in total less than a couple $100. You heard people talk about the speed sensor and how water can get back inside of there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the speed sensor where it is, and I'm just going to dike it off right there. That's going to be good enough. And here we go. Oh, well, kind of gave up the ghost before that. Alright, so I've just installed this 2000 S10 Blazer 2-wheel drive master cylinder. The reason I went with the 2000 S10 one is A, it is a bolt-in direct fit. All you got to do is swap these lines over from one side, just twist them around, put them in the other side. These nuts are two different sizes. This required no extra effort on my part. The second reason is all the brakes that I'm using for the disc brake upgrade for the back and the disc brake upgrade for the front are 2000 S10 Blazer 2-wheel drive brakes. So it only makes sense to take all the guesswork out of it and just go with a master cylinder that's already proportioned properly for the brakes that we have. That easy. I should mention that there are two 2000 S10 Blazer 2-wheel drive master cylinder options. Just make sure that you go with the part number November Mike 3068. The reason you want to go with that part number is it is the shorter of the two reservoirs. If you go with the taller reservoir, you won't be able to close the hood without it smashing into the reservoir. And make sure that you bleed it per the instructions that come with the master cylinder. It'll make your life a lot easier. The top one is 7/8. The bottom one, 15/16. Here's the trick to get these off. You're going to use the spring pressure that is still in this. This is only going to drop down a couple of inches at most. And you're going to take this and you're going to hit it right here, right below the ball joint. Boom, just like that, it's out. And then the top one, and now it's out. You don't actually hit on the threads. Next to the ball joint on the top, next to the ball joint on the bottom. That easy. Oh man, you're using those big old muscles, aren't you? Keep on going, big guy. Up high and then down low. All right, you did a good job. Pound it. Good job. Now, something that is really important is to make sure that your bleed screw is on top.
Before you tighten down your brake line, make sure that you move the spindle through the full range of travel and try to cycle your suspension up and down to make sure that there's no point at which your brake line will get pinched or interfere with moving suspension components.
Alright. Before you install this, make sure that you have this clocked in a way that makes it easy to put the cotter key in, because if you clock it, for instance, this way, you'll be trying to put the cotter key in up against the spindle. So just grab a hold of this before you put any force on it, spin it around so that it's in an easy direction, And then install this guy. Before it gets too tight, make sure it's clocked the way that you want it. However it is, whenever you set it up here like this, as soon as the nut starts to draw that tapered end of the ball joint in, it's going to lock into position, and that ball joint will rotate with the spindle. So as you tighten that up, whenever it draws this down in there, now it's going to be locked, and you want to make sure that that hole is facing a direction that makes it very easy to put your cotter key in. Braking test. Here we go.
And if you want to know how to upgrade your G-Body's rear brakes to disc brakes, click the link in the description. And because nobody asked at all, here is how to properly install a cotter key. Pull the head of the cotter key firmly against the bolt. Pin the top leg up over the exposed threaded end of the ball joint, cutting it off halfway. Pin the lower leg down and trim it so that it doesn't rub against the spindle surface below the nut.